Hey everybody, you have the opportunity to come out here to Hatcher's Run, to the American Battlefield Trust trail that you see right here. Beautiful earthworks, the best earthworks I think that the Trust has ever been able to preserve. You might be able to catch, again, they never show up that well on video, but you can probably see the moat there and the impressive works beyond. Never been touched. These are not works that we or anybody before us reconstructed. Somehow the soil around here works. And things stay in a great state of preservation with the vegetation and whatnot. So cool stuff. We're talking about 1865. This is February. We're going to be talking about a battle from February 5th to the 7th. We'll bring on Will Greene in a second to talk about it. But, when it comes down to Hatcher's Run, I think, people love to boil down battles. Oh, that's the place where, in this case, that's the place where John Pegram would be killed, or maybe even more famously here, that's the place where Sally the dog actually fought and was killed somewhere. Let me just say this, I don't know a whole lot about Sally, but what I do know in reading about the Civil War is that every dog on the Union side only hated two things, and that is rebels and women. And every dog on the Confederate side only hated two things, Yankees and women. So I don't know where that comes from, but I could assume that dogs are pretty terrible, as a species back then, if they're so full of hate. So with that, let me exit the scene and pass it over to A. Wilson Greene.
Well, just for the record, Gary, I like rebels, Yankees, and women. So I guess I have no canine blood in me. We're standing here just in front of the Confederate line, which was constructed beginning in September and completed in late October of 1864. The origin of this extension of the Confederate line was the capture of the Petersburg to Weldon Railroad in August during the 4th Union offensive at Petersburg, compelling General Lee to bring his supplies up from North Carolina to Stony Creek Station, which was about 18 miles south of Petersburg, offload them, put them on wagons, bring them on back roads to Dinwiddie Courthouse, and then up the Boyden Plank Road into Petersburg. In order to protect that now wagon supply line from the railhead at Stony Creek, Lee had to extend his defensive lines from the Demock line at Battery 45 all the way down to the banks of Hatcher's Run. And eventually he would refuse the line at Hatcher's Run and then run it west to continue all the way to Claiborne Road and White Oak Road. Now, this was the scene of two fights. We mentioned in another video the fighting that occurred here. It wasn't very serious fighting on October 27th. Most of that battle took place up along the Boyden Plank Road. But on February 5th, when there was a break in the weather, General Grant made the decision that he was going to try to interdict this wagon supply line along the Boyden Plank Road. And in order to do that, he would send out the 5th Corps under Gouverneur Warren and Gregg's cavalry to make that attack against that Confederate supply line. Elements of the 2nd Corps would go along as support for the 5th Corps. And this would result in a 3-day battle. The most serious fighting took place on February 6th, but the fighting that took place in this area occurred the day before, on February 5th. As the Federals were moving towards the Boyden Plank Road, the Confederate troops that were located here in these earthworks, this would have been General Heath's division of the 3rd Corps of A.P. Hill's Corps, noticed that the Federal line was open on its right flank. A portion, I believe it was Mott's division, I'll have to double check that. I think it was Mott's division of the 2nd Corps that formed a perpendicular line across Duncan Road, which is about a half a mile off here to our east, in order as flank protection. But their right flank was in the air. And so General Heath moves out of these powerful earthworks, crosses Duncan Road, and then turns to the south to try to get around the Union right flank. A brigade of New Jersey troops under Robert McAllister comes up just in the nick of time, and Heath's attack is unsuccessful. Heath will then return back to these earthworks, and the rest of the fighting at the so-called Battle of Hatcher's Run, or Second Battle of Hatcher's Run, takes place along the Dabney Mill Road and the parallel Vaughan Road. And it's a back and forth engagement. One division of Union troops will go forward. It will meet a Confederate division. It might have been Mahone's division under General Finnegan at that time of Florida. It might be Clement Evans' division of the Second Corps. It might be some additional Confederate troops. But it's a back and forth fluid fight. As Garry mentioned, John Pegram, the division commander, is killed here 3 weeks after he had married the belle of the Confederacy, Hetty Carey, in the most celebrated wedding of the late Confederacy. And by the end of the day on February 6th, nothing had really changed out here. February 7th was a sleet storm. It was cold, sleeting, snow. It was miserable. The fighting was very limited, and the combat would end, sort of peter out on February 7th. What's the result of all this? Not much, except that Grant will now incorporate the 3 miles of line that he extended from his former left flank all the way out here to the banks of Hatcher's Run at Vaughan Road. So this is another extension of the Union line, and the next time that the Federals will move forward will be the last time, that March and April offensive that begins on March 29th and ends on April 2nd with a breakthrough at Petersburg.
That's great, Will, and I think I'm going to digress for a second because, the more we shoot these Petersburg videos, the more I remember going through the journey to try to understand, and still trying to understand, okay, where's Boyden Plank Road fit compared to Peebles Farm, compared to Weldon Railroad, and how all this fits. In the end, remember, the whole Civil War in the East really consists of about 5 grand movements. They start around Washington. Seat of war moves down to Richmond. It moves up, resulting in 2nd Manassas and Antietam, moves down back toward Fredericksburg and Chancellorsville, up to Gettysburg, and then ever slowly back toward Richmond, Petersburg, and Appomattox. You can do the same thing for Petersburg. Get a map, look at a map while you're reading a basic description of this campaign, and it'll start to fall into place. Of course, if you can visit the places, all the better. Something to add, Will?
I just want to put in a plug for this trail. The trailhead here is right off of Duncan Road. As you come past Pamplin Historical Park, continue on, you'll see the Civil War Trust sign for the parking area. It's a bit of a walk. It's about a mile walk out and back. It's a loop trail, but it is spectacular. And if you have any interest in visiting battlefields that are a little bit remote, a little bit off the beaten track, but really worth the effort, come to Hatcher's Run.
And there's a payoff, not only with Will Greene's writing, who wrote the signs here for us, but also when you get to the end of the trail and overlook, or near the end, and overlook Hatcher's Run and see the work, suddenly it clicks for you. Aha! This is why the Confederates refused their line right here. So thank you for watching. Thanks for your support in everything that we do, and turn it over to Doug to give you a moment of Zen.